Hello, what's going on? Today we're going to take a look at some more Dell 4-color comics. This stack of comics we'll look at is from 1960 to 1962. This will be the last of our Dell 4-color comic videos. First issue we'll look at is from May of 1960. It's Dell 4-color number 1092, and it is a movie classic for Walt Disney's Toby Tyler. Previous owner was named Lorraine. Excuse me. There's a coffee ring. This is the exciting adventures of a runaway boy who joins the circus and becomes its star performer. My window is open and there is an airplane flying very low overhead. You guys might be able to hear that. I'm sorry about that. Perhaps I should have closed the window, but let's just drive on. I don't know this kid's name. This actor was making a lot of stuff for Walt Disney. I don't know if this movie was released in the theater. I think I probably saw it on The Wonderful World of Disney. Maybe it was one of those films that was just made to be released to television, to Wonderful World of Disney. You saw it said 1960 Walt Disney Productions. So I don't remember this kid's name, but I still have his voice in my head. It's not a pleasant voice. He kind of had this annoying little voice. Can you guys hear it in your head now that I'm mentioning it? You remember this kid? I can't even think of he was in lots of Disney movies, you guys. What was like he had way bigger roles here than Toby Tyler. Because when he was, I remember, watching stuff, he was a little older than he appears to be in this. I don't know. Anyway, stamp collecting on the back. So look at we're coming close to the end here for Dell 4-color. Dell 4-color is getting close to shutting down and not making the switch from Dell to Gold Key. This line, this doesn't continue, so it ends very soon after this, a couple of years. Toby Tyler. Oh, this is a great one. This was one of my favorite movies as a kid. This might have been my favorite Walt Disney movie for a couple of years. I think that they showed this in a re-release in theaters in the early 70s when I might have seen it, or the late 60s. And then, of course, they would show it probably every year on Wonderful World of Disney, right? In a two-part thing. They would show one half one Sunday, and then next Sunday they would show the conclusion. Wow, what an action-packed cover, isn't it? They got on the cover, they have the pirates attacking. And then, here's a good family portrait. This treehouse, when at Disneyland, was one of my favorite attractions, even though there was nothing to it. It was just a treehouse. But, I had a very active imagination, and so I was just interested in looking at really cool things. And so that treehouse to me represented something else. Even though Disney hadn't been a part, hadn't taken on the Tarzan license yet, and it did eventually become Tarzan's Treehouse. When I was a kid, seeing this treehouse at Disneyland and being able to go inside it, made me feel made me feel like Tarzan a little bit, or like these people here. Remember that treehouse that they had in like the first 3 movies or something, where Marino Sullivan would be cooking breakfast for Tarzan and Boy with these ostrich eggs. And they had that, they had like a plumbing system set up, but like the Swiss Family Robinsons, they really had a plumbing system set up. Let's fix this page. The centerfold is loose in here. I didn't even know that existed, but it is sad to see and know at this point. But welcome to my world. The Three Worlds of Gulliver, also a film, but not a Disney movie. I think this is George Powell. November 22nd, 1960. I can't remember this actor's name. Is this Kerwin Matthews? I feel like this guy did he play Sullivan? Or did he play Sinbad? Did he play Sinbad in a movie? What the heck am I saying? Sullivan. Ask Dad. He had one. These are nice. Daisy BB guns. Here we go. Wow, I was right. It is Kerwin Matthews. Yeah, so this is Harryhausen. I said George Powell. I was wrong. This is Ray Harryhausen. How could I not know that? Super Dynamation. I need to rewatch this. I haven't seen this in a long time. This might be on Tubi or something. So this is the adaptation of that movie, The Three Worlds of Gulliver. We just saw. Here it is. I guess it was probably coming out. It would have been coming out in the holiday season of 1960, since this is a November comic. We saw it was stamped November 1960. So this would make sense. This would be a nice family movie, I guess they're thinking. A family adventure type thing. Classic. Dondi. I don't know much about this. I believe this was initially a newspaper strip, as you see here in the background. Small orphan boy follows his GI buddies to America. See, Chicago Tribune, I was right. 1960, New York News Syndicate. So, and then this is an Albert Zug Smith production, an Allied Artists Pictures. So they made a movie based on this newspaper strip that is about a refugee boy that for me looks like Central America or Mexico or South America, and about a orphan boy who is adopted by GIs. Is that what this is? I've heard about guys adopting dogs. I mean, we had a dog in Korea his name was Radar, and he lived with everyone in the barracks. This was the most interesting situation I had ever seen. Korea being an unusual, it's an unusual duty station, especially in the 80s it was. So I get there, not only are there indigenous or civilians, this wire keep dawning America, are there civilians in the barracks, but there's a dog that lives in the barracks and just kind of walks around. For the most part, he was with the mechanics. He slept with the mechanics, and then the mechanics took him to work every day, and he hung out at the motor pool. And of course, his name was Radar. This is really well drawn to me. This looks cool. 1st European Missile Division, 82nd Artillery. This kid does. I thought this kid looked Latino to me, but maybe he's not. Maybe he's supposed to be like Polish or something. Or something else. I don't know. He's got creepy big eyes, doesn't he? Everybody else looks like they're drawn normal except for Dondi. It's a little weird. This looks interesting and good. I've never read this before. It looks good to me. Maybe it does to you guys too. This looks interesting. I need to read this. Wow, the art's great. Okay, this is 4-color 1176 Dondi. This is something to look for. It's pretty interesting to me. It's trippy. There's that blind guy again. Oh, this is awesome. Be a 6-gun spin expert. Learn secrets of the fast draw. Wow, look at this 6-gun rig. Worn by the TV stars. Anybody? Did you guys used to shoot at the TV with your gun? I did. I used to shoot the bad guys with one of these. Whenever they would come on the screen, I would pow, pow, pow. Wow, this is just, it looks like the 60s. This is interesting, isn't it? So, I think at this point, the big sellers have moved on to their own titles. And now 4-color has become just like, almost like Showcase, where each month they're just putting out this licensed material to promote films, television. That's what it looks like, right? Has it been everything so far? Everything's been a movie or TV. That's interesting. We got Donald Duck album coming up though. 10 Who Dared. Death-defying adventures of the first men to sail the roaring Colorado through the Grand Canyon. Now I saw this, but I can't remember. It was a Walt Disney movie, I guess. I didn't realize that. 1960. That looks like Brian Keith. I bet you Brian Keith is in this movie. There he is. This is nice. These are the 10 Who Dared. I recognize some of these faces. These are a lot of these are, well, I mean, who is this? Ben, I can't remember this actor's name. But, like, I recognize some of these guys. Certainly, I mostly recognize him and him. These two guys are in tons of westerns as backups, as bit part actors for years and years. They made, like, both these guys were those type of guys that used to do every western on television and have one or two lines in every episode, sometimes more. But they made an entire career of that. I hope their kids are doing well. Maybe they're actors too. 10 Who Dared. Here it is. This could be interesting. Maybe you would like to... a lot of people say that the book is better than the movie. They say that all the time. I never hear anybody say that the comic book is better than the movie. You ever heard anybody say that? Boy, I really like 10 Who Dared. But until you read the Dell comic book version of 10 Who Dared, you really haven't experienced 10 Who Dared the way it was meant to be experienced. The way that Walt Disney wanted it to be, to be interpreted. Not the way that these guys, this director, whoever it was, not the way Stanley Kubrick interpreted it. So if you want to see Disney's version, you should read the comic interpretation. All right, here's another Donald Duck album, which apparently they're sticking with the Donald Duck album because this is a big seller no matter what. And these photographic things. First of all, the album is tied in with photography, right? We know that. Oh, look, here's Twinkles. What did these become? Did these become something else? This is before my time. I never ate Twinkles. It's interesting, they had like a book on the box that had a comic. 3 Twinkles magic sponge toys. Put them in water, see them grow to full size. Well, you don't even get them free. You got to send 30 cents with a box top. So, yeah, photographic covers. Covers that have a reference to photos. Huckleberry Hound, the Dell Trading Post. Okay, so this was a great idea. You're supposed to cut the top of the title off of all your comic books and then send them in or trade them somehow with something else. I don't feel like reading it all right now, but that's what they're telling you to do. Hey kids, cut the top off your comic book and mail them in. Your mom's just gonna throw them away anyway, right? Ooh, this looks good. So these are all new Duck stories. All this stuff is still all new. So when you're reading this, occasionally there will be a Barks reprint in here, but for the most part, this stuff is all new. Right back to the films. This is a George Pal movie. This is Atlantis: The Lost Continent. This is a very fun movie and a very cool cover. This is probably that contest that we were talking about. Prizes, announcing big. I bet you this is the contest telling you to cut the tops off of all your comic books. It sounds like a communist plot. Da, children, just cut the tops off of your comic books. Mail them in. We will send you a flag with a hammer and sickle. Wow, look at this. The Atlantis, the lost continent, right off the coast of Portugal. I'm telling you. I'm part Lemurian. All Portuguese are Lemurians. New fun-packed Twinkles record. Only 25 cents. I like the art. I don't know anything about Twinkles. Okay, this is a cool title. I like Scamp. Scamp is he like the child of Lady and the Tramp? I believe this is Tramp's son. And he's just received a phone call from Mumbai about his extended warranty on his automobile. All new stories. This one it's got Dumbo. Dumbo's got a problem and Scamp is here to help. I recommend Scamp. Looks to you like a children's comic. but actually it's filled with deep pathos. Win a diamond hunting trip? Well, a diamond hunting trip. Okay. It's like, what's a diamond hunting trip? That sounds like it's a first-rate trip. What are we going to go to Africa and shoot an elephant? And a $500 bond plus a $2,500 diamond ring for Mom. Fishing trip and a tackle set for Dad. She gets a $2,500 diamond ring, and he gets a $1,000 value fishing trip. Typical. More television or movies. 77, Sunset Strip. Never really watched this show. This also pretty much predates me, you know. But I did hear about it, and I probably heard that song somewhere, and I might have seen an episode or two, like back when they showed it on Nickelodeon in 1990 or something. I know who this guy is. Ed Kooky Burns. Kooky, get your comb or something. He would always like comb his hair back. There's Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. from the FBI. That's what I know him from. He was on the FBI, which came after this show. Is this a one-pager? Let's get this straight, Stu. I'm to watch that car and report to you who gets in it? Right, Kooky. Is it Cookie or Kooky? I feel like people said cookie, but it looks like kooky to me. I'm going to say kooky. But Dad, why stand way over here? There are lots of better places on the other side of the street. He's not his dad. Okay, that's not really his dad. I think he's calling him Dad like in a slang way. It's not his dad, is it? They got different names. This is just not even good enough to read. It's just a joke about him combing his hair, and I don't know. It's not. I haven't read this. I need to read this. Especially, I should read it before I watch 77 Sunset Strip, because it could be possible the comic is better than the show. Wow. Dell has really just become a showcase. Dell 4-color. 4-color has become a showcase for film and television at this point. Now, this is in every issue, obviously, that's being put out between 1960 and 1962, but it's definitely a sample. You know, it's a sampling of things that were available for those 2 years. This is what was on the stands from Dell 4-color, I said 50. It's not that. It's 1960 to 1962. This entire stack. Let's see how far we've gotten at this point. We're in September of 1961 here with Nicky Wild Dog of the North. Never saw this movie, and I haven't read this comic book. This was, I'm sure, shown on Wonderful World of Disney, and it was also for sure chewed by probably a rodent. Animal Adventure, very popular, but not as popular as the Huck Hound Club. This looks cool. Let's look at this. So you get a membership card. What do you get? You get a lifetime membership. So, wow, I wonder how many lifetime Huck Hound Club members there are left out there. You get the button. 3-color button. You get a personal letter from Huck, an 8x10 color picture of Huck and Yogi, a Better Breakfast scorecard. What are these pictures over here? You get that many of those pictures? It just says 1 8x10 color pictures of you get 2 of Huck and Yogi. Okay, so I see it. They're definitely laying it all out there for you, aren't they? Here, this is Snooper. That's Snooper from Snooper and Blabber. I'm pretty sure that's who that is. I could be wrong. The best to you each morning, good sir. Donald Duck album is back, still selling well and still posing for pictures. And the Huck Hound Club, the month later or so, is still there, looking for members. Package problem. Stories about ducks who speak like human beings. This duck, though, in particular, this Donald, this guy on the far left, there's something about him that made him in a way more popular than anyone else, as far in all of Disney canon, in my opinion. Like, you put him, it's like very similar to putting Bugs Bunny. That's not true. I was going to say it's similar to putting Bugs Bunny next to Daffy Duck, but that really isn't true. Many of us like Daffy Duck better because he's funnier and cooler, but Bugs is still the most popular, and obviously he's the face of Warner Brothers. But Mickey Mouse, he's the face of Disney, but the heart of Disney, the guy you root for, the guy that people ended up, the family, this is the family that everybody identified with. This is the Disney family. You don't see a Mickey Mouse album with Mickey and that his girlfriend Minnie and those kids that are Mickey's nephews whose their names I never even get straight. We know who everybody here is, and they're all related. And this guy, not only is he a veteran, he's always dressed like he's in the Navy. So not only is he a veteran, but he's always on hard luck. He has trouble holding a job. That's part of the running gag in Donald Duck, is that many of these stories, he's starting a new job and he's fucking it up. That's the whole thing. He needs the boys to help him get out of trouble, and he needs Uncle Scrooge to help him get out of trouble. It's about family. This is about family. It's another movie, The Horsemasters. I don't know whether this went straight to television for Wonderful World of Disney or if this was in the theaters either. I saw this on Wonderful World of Disney. I liked Annette Funicello. You know, I learned about her by watching television with, you know, the Disney stuff. And then also in the early 70s where I lived, they reran the original Mickey Mouse Club from the 50s during the Monday through Friday after school. So I started watching all this stuff. I learned about Spinnin' Marty. I learned about her, about the whole thing. I learned about, you know, the different days of the week and the songs that they sang. And this guy's name is Tommy Kirk. He's an actor in a lot of these movies. And this girl, this is Annette Funicello, and she was beautiful. She was kind of the hottest. She was the whole reason of watching any of this stuff, in my opinion. That's her right there as well. Beautiful Italian-American young lady. Beautiful Italian-American woman who is not given justice in this artistic interpretation. Look at this. So this is Annette, right? And that's Annette. Annette has a little button nose. This looks like Stockard Channing. I don't know what's going on here. I haven't read this, but I have seen the movie, and maybe if I read the comic, the movie would make more sense. The last one we're going to look at, Walt Disney's Moon Pilot, also a movie. From February of 1962. And 4-Color is getting close to ending. I think that the last issue is like 1334 or something like that. This is 1313. This is the unluckiest issue. And also Mrs. Winchester's favorite issue, the Winchester Mystery House. She had 13 of these in every room. This is Walt Disney's Moon Pilot. This is a movie also. I don't know if this came out in the theaters or if this was just straight to television for the Wonderful World of Disney. This is them convincing us in 1962 that we're going to be able to go to the moon and that it's a good thing and that it's all going to be happy and fun. I never saw one astronaut that had a smile like that on his face. I never saw one returning astronaut who came out with a chimp in his arms and a big smile on his face and was ready to tell everybody how great it was. Not one. Walt Disney's Moon Pilot. Thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Such a disappointment not to find out that that it was such a disappointment to find out that Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were not Dean Jones and Dick Van Dyke. They weren't even close to Dean Jones and Dick Van Dyke. They didn't even want to make direct eye contact with the camera. They didn't. They looked away. So when I was like 5 years old and I saw that, it really was a disappointment. Thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video talking about Dell 4-color comics from 1960 to 1962. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.